Picture this. You're standing in a crowded airport. The final boarding call echoes overhead, and you're sprinting down the terminal with your backpack half open and your heart pounding out of your chest. You miss the gate by 2 minutes and watch your plane pull away without you. Sounds like a nightmare? It happens every single day. Airports in 2025 are busier, stricter, and less forgiving than ever before. One small mistake can snowball fast and cost you hours, money, and a whole lot of stress. But it doesn't have to be that way. Today, I'm breaking down the biggest airport mistakes travelers still make and showing you exactly how to dodge them. Missed flights, security disasters, sneaky scams, we're tackling them all. So if you want your next trip to be smooth, stress-free, and maybe even a little fun, stick around. Let's dive in. Nobody wants to sprint through an airport like they're chasing the last bus home, but it still happens, and usually because we're looking at the wrong time on our ticket. Most people glance at the departure time printed on their boarding pass and think, all right, as long as I'm there by then, I'm good. Not even close. What you really need to pay attention to is the boarding time. Planes close their doors about 20 minutes before the scheduled departure. If you show up too late, you're not just cutting it close. You're actually risking missing the flight entirely. The airlines don't make it obvious either. That boarding pass you're holding, it usually only shows the takeoff time. It doesn't shout, be at the gate way earlier. And that's exactly why so many travelers get caught off guard. If you want to avoid that last-minute panic, check your boarding time, not just your departure time, and aim to be at your gate at least 30 minutes before boarding even starts. It gives you room to breathe and keeps you ahead of the chaos. Because when you're running late, two things happen fast. First, your stress shoots through the roof. Your heart's racing, your brain's foggy, and you're making sloppy mistakes. Second, you start forgetting important things. Your phone, your ID, your wallet, all the essentials you can't afford to lose when you travel. And it doesn't stop there. You might even forget to snap a quick photo of where you parked your car, which means after a long, exhausting trip, you're dragging your luggage through a giant parking lot, trying to remember if you left your car near the blue pillar or the green one. It sounds harmless enough, right? You clear security, spot gate 22 nearby, and think, plenty of time. Maybe I'll grab a snack or browse the bookstore for a bit. But that's exactly how travelers get trapped. Your boarding gate isn't always as close as it looks, and in big international airports, it might not even be in the same terminal. Sometimes, your gate is tucked behind another security checkpoint, or you might need to hop on a shuttle bus to reach it. One traveler shared how they relaxed in a lounge, thinking they were just 5 minutes from the gate, only to realize later they had to clear immigration again. What started as a peaceful break turned into a frantic dash through the airport, with boarding already underway and final calls echoing overhead. Here's the smarter move. Find your gate first. Walk all the way there if you can, and check if there are any extra steps between you and the plane. Once you're sure you know exactly where to go and how long it'll take to get back, then go ahead and explore. Grab a bite or kick back and relax. You'll enjoy yourself a whole lot more when there's no last-minute panic hanging over you. Here's a rookie mistake that even frequent flyers still make. Trusting the gate number printed on their boarding pass. It's tempting, right? You see it in black and white, so you think that's final. But gates change all the time, and if you're not checking the big departure boards at the airport, you could easily end up at the wrong place while your plane is boarding somewhere else. It's not just a small detail either. One traveler shared their story about flying home over Labor Day 2024. They had a 3-hour layover in Dallas, and anyone who's been to Dallas knows that airport feels like it's the size of a small country. American Airlines changed their Gate 5 different times during that layover. 5. They were paying attention at first, but after missing the last change, they realized something wasn't right when the crowd around them started to disappear. Turns out, they had to sprint all the way back to the original gate. Not easy when you're dealing with arthritis. They barely made it onto the flight as the final group was boarding. The travelers who handled it best? They didn't wander off. They stayed close and kept checking the updates. And that's what you should do too. Don't just rely on the piece of paper in your hand. Watch the big departure boards at the airport and check your airline's mobile app, like the American Airlines app, the United app, or Delta's Fly Delta app, because those apps push real-time updates straight to your phone. Airports are constantly shifting gears behind the scenes, and staying tuned in could be the difference between a smooth flight and a mad dash across the terminal. Airport security doesn't care how stylish you look. They care how fast you can move through the checkpoint. Wearing clothes loaded with metal is like asking for extra screening. Jewelry, heavy belts, metal boots, jackets with shiny buttons, every little detail slows you down and makes the security line drag even longer. And even if you manage to breeze through security, you're not off the hook. That sharp outfit you picked out for the airport? After an hour in a cramped airplane seat at 35,000 feet, it's going to feel less like a runway moment and more like you're trapped in a denim straitjacket. The smarter choice? Stick with soft, comfortable fabrics and keep accessories to a minimum. You'll thank yourself later when you're not fidgeting and counting down the minutes until you can finally change. Here's a small mistake that can turn into a big headache: wearing lace-up shoes to the airport. Unless you're signed up for TSA PreCheck, you're usually required to remove your shoes at security. Some airports have newer technology or lower security threat levels, so you might get lucky once in a while and keep them on. But tomorrow? Different story. And it's not worth the gamble. If you're stuck fiddling with tight shoelaces, you're slowing down not just yourself, but everyone behind you. A better move is to loosen your laces or unzip your boots before you even step into the line. Even better? Wear slip-on shoes. No laces, no hassle. A lot of seasoned travelers swear by Crocs for flights because they're easy to take off and just as easy to put back on. And if you're thinking about wearing tall boots that need serious tugging to remove, save yourself the stress. They might look great walking into the airport, but they're a nightmare at the security checkpoint. It sounds clever at first. Strapping a hidden money belt tight against your body to keep your valuables safe. But here's the catch. You're not allowed to wear anything like that when you go through airport security. If you've ever heard TSA agents say, "Nothing in your pockets, not even a tissue," they mean it. Whether or not they catch it right away depends on the airport's security technology and the rules in place that day. But why risk it? Here's a smarter way to protect your important stuff. After you show your passport, your ID, or your phone for your boarding pass scan, tuck those items immediately into an inner zippered pocket inside your personal carry-on bag. Keep everything zipped up and close to you at all times. You might have heard about that Miami airport incident where a TSA officer was caught on video stealing valuables straight from passengers' trays. That's why the goal isn't just to keep your belongings secure. It's to make them harder to grab. If a thief sees that getting to your valuables would take extra time or effort, they'll likely move on and target someone less careful. Free airport Wi-Fi sounds like a great perk, until someone on the same network swipes your passwords, your bank login, or your credit card info while you're waiting for your flight. Airports are prime hunting grounds for hackers, and in 2025, cyber scams targeting unsecured devices have only gotten worse. One traveler thought it would be harmless to check their bank account during a layover and ended up dealing with a full-blown identity theft nightmare. Definitely not the kind of souvenir you want to bring home after a trip. Here's the safer play. Always use a VPN. A VPN encrypts your data, so anyone trying to snoop around sees nothing but a scrambled mess. Even better, download anything important you'll need before you leave home and skip public Wi-Fi altogether if you can. Burning through a little extra mobile data is a small price to pay compared to losing your inbox or your bank account. Just because you manage to zip your bag shut at home doesn't mean it's going to slide neatly into the overhead bin. If your carry-on is bulging like an overripe banana bread, Good luck squeezing it into a space that was already tight to begin with. In 2025, airlines are cracking down harder than ever on carry-on size rules, and gate agents are fully enforcing them. If your bag looks stuffed or oversized, there's a good chance you'll get stopped right before boarding. That usually means checking your bag at the gate, sometimes with extra fees, and being separated from the things you really wanted to keep with you. The smart move is to check your airline's carry-on size and weight limits ahead of time. Use a luggage scale if you're not sure, and pack like you're traveling for a few days, not disappearing for a month. A lighter, more manageable bag means faster boarding, less stress, and fewer annoyed glances as you navigate down that narrow aisle. Even if it's just for a minute, never leave your luggage sitting alone. This might be the classic mistake that first-time flyers make without realizing how serious it can get. You step away to grab a water, your laptop bag is just a few steps behind you, and you think, "It's fine, I'll be right back." But here's what can happen in that 1 minute. Airport security spots an unattended bag, alerts go off, and the entire terminal locks down. Suddenly, there's an announcement blaring through the loudspeakers, and every eye in the building is on you. Not only do you risk causing a full-blown security incident, but you could also have your bag confiscated, get pulled aside for questioning, and even be denied boarding for the day. And that's not even counting the fact that a thief could be watching, waiting for you to step away so they can walk off with your passport and headphones before you even notice. The rule is simple. If it's not physically connected to you, it's not safe. If you need to leave your spot, either take your bags with you or ask someone you know and trust to keep an eye on them. Don't ever think, "I'll only be gone for a second," because airport security doesn't play around when it comes to unattended luggage. It's tempting, right? You're in a new place. The airport smells like adventure, and those spicy dumplings or mystery street tacos are calling your name. But here's the thing. Your stomach doesn't care how culturally adventurous you're trying to be. Trying unfamiliar food right before a flight is a gamble, and not the fun kind. If it doesn't sit well, you're stuck dealing with the aftermath in one of the least comfortable places on Earth, an airplane bathroom. Once you're cruising at 35,000 feet, there's no quick exit, no backup plan, and definitely no five-star service waiting to save you. One poor traveler thought sugar-free gummy bears would be a harmless snack before boarding. Let's just say the real turbulence wasn't outside the plane. It was in their gut. If you're hungry before your flight, stick with something light and familiar. Your stomach will thank you later, and so will whoever's sitting next to you. Because if there's one place you don't want to play digestive roulette, it's up in the sky. Want to start your trip running or sprinting? Skipping online check-in might seem harmless, but it's one of the easiest ways to set yourself up for a rushed, stressful day. When you check in online, whether through the airline's website or app, you're not just picking a seat, you're locking down key details before you even leave home. Your departure terminal, your boarding time, and any last-minute changes you need to know about. And heads up, most airlines open online check-in about 24 hours before your flight. It's easy to forget in the middle of packing, so I always set a quick calendar reminder on my phone. One little ping can save you a whole lot of panic later. In 2025, that head start matters more than ever. Since 2020, airports have expanded, shuffled gates, and added new terminals. Without early info, it's way too easy to show up at the wrong terminal or realize too late that your gate is a 20-minute hike across the airport. Smart travelers check in online. It's free, it's fast, and it could be the difference between a smooth stroll to your gate or a heart-pounding race you never meant to run. Booking a connecting flight with less than an hour between legs might sound doable on paper, but in real life, it's often a disaster waiting to happen. I learned this the hard way on a United Airlines trip to Vermont. They gave me just under 50 minutes to catch my next flight. And for a domestic connection, that's cutting it way too close. Here's why those short connections are risky. First, Just getting off your first plane can easily eat up 10 minutes. And that's if you're lucky enough to be seated near the front. If you're sitting behind the wing and a few slow-moving passengers block the aisle, you could be stuck for 20 minutes before you even step into the terminal. Second, you might have to switch terminals entirely. That could mean catching a tram, a shuttle bus, or hustling across what feels like an endless maze of hallways, all while your next flight's clock is ticking down. And third, planes in 2025 are bigger, longer, and pack in more passengers than ever before. Boarding usually starts a full 45 minutes before takeoff. Plus, gate agents close the doors about 20 minutes before departure, and once those doors shut, they're not reopening them for anyone. If you miss that boarding window, your flight's gone, and so is your connection. Play it safe. Give yourself at least 90 minutes between flights whenever you can. Future, you will be grateful. Before we wrap up, let me share a few of my favorite tricks that can make your airport day a whole lot easier, and maybe even a little safer. Think of these like quick boosts to smooth out your entire trip. When it comes to clearing security, everything you wear matters. I always stick with a belt that's TSA friendly, meaning no metal at all. Same with shoes. Slip-ons are your best friend. And glasses? All plastic frames save you an extra pat-down. Even tiny things like chewing gum wrapped in foil can trip the scanners, so I leave all that behind before I hit the line. No drama, no delays. Now, once you show your passport and boarding pass, don't just shove them back into your pocket. I always tuck mine straight into a zippered section inside my carry-on. It keeps them safe, easy to find, and way less tempting for sticky fingers. For staying hydrated, here's something simple but effective. Bring an empty water bottle. Most airports these days have refill stations past security, and it saves you from paying $5 for a tiny bottle of water. Or, if you're feeling clever, fill a bottle with ice before you leave home. If it's frozen solid when you go through security, you're good. And as it melts, you've got free water ready to go. Noise at airports can be overwhelming, so a pair of wireless earbuds is a game changer. I also always travel with a backpack that has hidden, inward-facing zippers. It's a tiny thing, but it makes a huge difference when it comes to keeping your stuff safe in a crowded terminal. There are a few just-in-case items I never skip either. A small flashlight lives in my bag. Blackouts at airports or hotels aren't as rare as you'd think. And I always toss in a tourniquet. Sounds intense, I know, but it's light, easy to pack, and you'll never regret having it if something serious happens. Traveling internationally? Don't forget a universal voltage adapter. A lot of places outside the US run on 240 volts, and your electronics won't thank you if you forget to prep for it. If you're traveling with kids, a little planning goes a long way. A favorite stuffed animal, a tablet loaded with shows, some dry snacks, and a spare change of clothes in your carry-on can turn a potential meltdown into a smooth ride. And if your little one struggles with cabin pressure during takeoff and landing, trimming a pair of earplugs to fit them better can make all the difference. Bottom line, the more small things you handle before you ever leave for the airport, the fewer big problems you'll run into later, and the more you'll actually enjoy the journey. If you found even one tip today that could save you time, money, or a massive headache at the airport, go ahead and give this video a like. Got your own airport horror story or secret travel hack? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And if you think someone you know could use a little less airport drama, share this video with them. Safe travels, and I'll see you in the next one.